Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're just going to let everyone get signed on. Can you hear me okay, Alan? Good job. So we're going to let everyone get signed on. The numbers are going up pretty quickly. We definitely want to get started on time because we have a really great topic. I'm super excited about this topic, and I got to preview the work that he's done, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So let me just really quickly welcome everyone. My name's Kay Huff. I will be your Benco host for this afternoon. So I want to thank everyone for joining. And now I want to just go over the CE so we can get started. So number one, you will be receiving a 1-hour CE for this course tonight. It's really important that if you want the CE to register for your license, you need to make sure that you registered for the course in your legal name. It's also important that if you registered with someone else, that you registered separately and that you're also watching it on separate computers. So you have to be logged into your own device. This way, our CE department will see that you're logged in. It's also important that you stay on for the entire hour to be able to receive the entire hour of CEs. It may take up to 30 days to receive your CEs, but I promise them you will receive them. If you're listening from your mobile device, which is fine, however, we don't recognize the mobile device if you've dialed in with a telephone number. So one of the things that I'll need you to do if you're dialing in is send me your name, the title of the course, and the telephone number to practicecoaching@benco.com. Again, that's practicecoaching@benco.com. I will go over that with you again at the end. It'll be on our very last slide, so we'll be able to show it to you then. So don't worry about it if you didn't write it down. Also, we really want you to get involved. We want to be able to answer, questions that you may have. So at the bottom of your screen, there's going to be a button called Q&A. We'd like for you to use that. So as we're doing the presentation, type in any questions that may come up that you think about, and then we will stop at the end and try to go over as many of those as we can and answer them live. However, if we don't get to all of them, don't worry. Dr. Stern's going to make sure he types the response, and everybody that's on the live webinar tonight will receive a copy of the Q&A. So not just your question, you'll receive everyone's question. So it's really nice. So with that out of the way, this is my favorite part of the evening. I get to introduce my amazing leader, who's someone who is actually dialed in because he didn't want to miss it. I mean, that's how much these webinars mean to him. He loves, loves, loves being in touch with his Benco family, his Benco customers. It means the world to him. So with that being said, I'm honored to introduce the Managing Director of Benco Dental, Chuck Cohen.
Okay, thank you very much. And I wouldn't miss this one because I want to hear what Dr. Stern has to say. I was lucky enough to be interviewed by Alan a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, on his Facebook Live program, and I was very impressed. For those of you who don't know Dr. Stern, he runs a very high-quality practice in central New Jersey in a town called Ocean. His consulting gig is called Better, Stronger, Richer, and he's going to share with us this evening some of the skills and secrets that he's learned in how to talk to patients about the dentistry that you want to present, basically getting patients to agree to the treatment plan that's being offered. We think you'll be very impressed. We think everyone will walk away from tonight's program with 2 or 3 or 4 ideas that can be implemented tomorrow. So with that, I will turn things over to Dr. Alan Stern. Dr. Stern, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us this evening.
Hey, Chuck, thank you so much. Kay, thank you. Maria, Alyssa, Leah, thank you all so much. It's just really nice to be here for you. And just so you know, Chuck and Kay did an incredible Facebook Live with me on my Better, Richer, Stronger Facebook page, which you're all invited to. Chuck has a real solid grasp on the marketplace in dentistry. That is what we dentists are up against. And he and Kay gave a very, very enlightening presentation about what's going on in terms of trends in infection control and PPE. So I really appreciate, on behalf of my community, I really appreciate the contribution you, Chuck, and Kay and Benco Dental has made to my community and also to the dental profession in general. So, man, it's just an honor to be with people like you here. Thank you all for coming. I'm gonna go over to screen share mode now. There we are. Let's see if I can get this right. Let's see, can we see everything
Looks
here?
fantastic. Yep.
We're doing good?
Fantastic. Yeah, keep going. This looks perfect.
All right, so COVID, how you doing the last 6 months? Boy, isn't the status quo a wonderful thing, huh? Has anybody experienced any subtle changes since March 16th? Or is it only me? Well, things have gotten a little weird and a little scary. And sometimes, you know, we're faced with things like this and we are so locked into what we're doing. We're in our groove. We're doing what we're doing. The schedule's good. The preps are good. The impressions are good. Everything's seating. The hygienist is humming on 8 cylinders. And all of a sudden, uh-oh, the game's turned upside down. And all of a sudden, we're out of business for 6, 8, 9 weeks. And we've spent how much money on PPE and all this other stuff. And now all of a sudden, we are behind 12 degrees of separation between us and the people who are opening their mouths in dire fear, not knowing what we're going to do. And we talk to them through a muffler. Not only that, but our hospitality systems are totally upside down. And I'll admit, it was scary. My team and I were really concerned because we have a relationship-based practice. It is very important that we retain a sense of closeness with our patients, and I hope you all feel that way too. So we kind of took it as a challenge after we got through the initial jolt, and we saw it as an opportunity, and we have found ways through the, whatever it is you're wearing, the N95 and the level 3 and the face shield, or you'll see what I wear in a few minutes, or sometimes a PAPR. If you don't know what a PAPR is, Chuck will tell you all about it, or any of his Goodwill representatives out there. That could be the next wave too. So we are so separated from them now. And oh my God, how do we do this? So we can go one of 2 ways, my friends. We could sink or we could rise. Because you know what? Most of what we do, come on, slide. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're not advancing here.
So hit the plus sign. I mean the little
I'm hitting my arrows, my page up, page
arrows.
down.
Yep, your arrows. It's okay. Just hold on 1 second. Hit the arrows.
Arrow's not moving.
All right, so it's all right. So Maria, will you just let's just stop sharing your screen. Let's pull Maria's screen up, and Maria will do the slides for you. All you have to do is say next slide, and she'll advance for you at no problem.
Let me try one more trick, Maria. Before you kick in, let me try one more trick.
Okay.
Let's see. Will this work? Let's go to F5. No, we are not. Oh my goodness gracious.
You got to go on the very bottom where I told you on the very bottom.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Click that button on the very bottom on the right. There you go. Now
Let's try this again. There we go.
There we go. We got it. Thank you.
Kay and Maria to the rescue. That is why your friendly Benco representative is always there for you. How's that?
Absolutely.
So, you know, what did we just do? My slides froze. Opportunity or freak out, right? It's just like with what COVID did to us, we have an opportunity, and we just kind of used our systems and we did it. So we had a choice here. I could have, you know, aborted the whole thing, or, you know, we just move on. And with this PPE thing, everything we decide, every attitude of ours, it's all a matter of our choice. So what I want to do for you today is not only share hope, but I want to give you a concrete path toward resuming that practice of your dreams that you're really pursuing. And it begins with mindset. There are books about mindset. This one is from one of my favorite books called The Outward Mindset by the Arbinger Institute, Arbinger. And there are many different mindsets that we all have and that we all see in our teams and with our patients. We've seen the victim. Oh my God, everything goes wrong, has gone wrong. We see team members that way. We see some of our colleagues that way, and I hope none of you feels that way, that you're a victim of everything, because you're not. You can have a healthy mindset. You could be health conscious and really striving to improve yourself day in and day out. I want to talk particularly about outward versus inward mindset, because that's really important. Are you directed toward others, or are you directed toward yourself? I'll show you that in a moment. And the other thing in your mindset that we really need to get straight, and it's the toughest one that I see when I speak to dentists, or if I look at some of the Facebook sites that we're all familiar with, humility is really important. And I'll tell you why very shortly. An inward mindset is this scheme over here with you in the middle. And you see your patients, your team, your peers there to cater to you. When we look at a patient as a set of teeth, looking to fill our chair or maintain our payroll or pay our bills, when we look at the hygienist, the assistant, the front desk person, as there to serve our very needs, and we look at our peers as people who are here to really provide us with something, we become very me-centric. And that, I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't lead anywhere good. Where's the satisfaction in that? Because with that mindset, we get patients who will hop, skip, and jump anywhere with any change in the marketplace. We have team members who will hop, skip, and jump anywhere for an extra X% per hour. And we have ourselves trapped in this little circle of inwardness. How do you tell if you're inward? Do you feel like you're defensive all the time? You're blaming, you're demonizing others for things that are happening? If you're worried excessively about what other people think of you, these are signs that you are directed inwardly toward yourself. And it can change just like that. Because if you have an outward mindset, all of a sudden, you begin to see that you are here to serve others. You are here to take care of the patients. The patient is coming to you for something. They are placing their trust in you for something, whatever that is. And if you know what that something is, you're golden. Your team, your hygienist, your assistant, your administrators, I submit that they're coming to you for something more than a paycheck. I hope they are. Because when they get more than a paycheck, there's loyalty there, there's growth there. There's a reason to come in on Monday morning. And then they plug themselves into that center that you see here. They, in their roles in your office, they'll plug themselves here and see themselves as serving you, your patients, each other. If you have an outward mindset, if you're directed toward other people, not only in your practice, but personally, and I'm not trying to tell you how to live, but aren't the most satisfying moments in your life, in and out of the office, when you know you've given something to somebody? It's really an amazing thing. I'm listening to a podcast right now called The Help Laboratory, HELP, and the psychologist who runs it I just heard this yesterday afternoon, this morning. You define your job as being in service to others, and all of a sudden, past a certain level of earning, you've got to earn a living wage, and we dentists, we want to earn a little bit more than that, but how much is enough? And beyond that is really fluff, but within that essential element of earning, we build in the satisfaction of knowing we've done something. That's where happiness is, my friends. An outward mindset. And you know what? You think that your mindset can't change. You think that because you are a certain way, you're not going to change. And how many patients come and tell us that I can't grow? And how many times Have we gone to continuing ed courses or tried something with one patient and it didn't work? So, no, I can't change. You know, I had a classmate in high school.
Hey, really quickly, Dr. Stern, just make sure that when you talk, you're sometimes covering up your mic and your words are going to go real quietly. So just make sure that you don't hit your mic when you're covering.
Very good.
Get your voice go. And I definitely want people to be able to hear you. Okay.
Thank goodness I didn't have too much caffeine today. God knows what would have happened.
You're doing great.
Thanks, Kay. Thank you. But I had a classmate in high school. His name was Neil Weintraub, and he was a real bright guy. And I remember in physics class, he created the law. Remember the law of conservation of matter and the law of conservation of energy? Well, Weintraub created Weintraub's law of conservation of intelligence. And that is, your parents have only a certain amount of intelligence to give you, so that if you have a brother or sister who's very smart, chances are you're a little deficient. Well, that's kind of not true, but it's kind of funny, because if you can adapt your mindset toward success and abundance and connection and generosity, things change. You know, think about this in our practice. Patient leaves the office. What do you think, docs? Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. My practice is a failure. The market crashes. Remember 6 months ago when the market crashed? We were all done, right? Wrong. You're out of shape. I was 35 pounds overweight at age 58, 9 years ago. You can't think that. You have an argument with your spouse, a team member, or patient, and they're done with you? If you have a bad outcome, you're a lousy dentist. That is simply not true. Carol Dweck wrote this.
Hey, Alan, your mic is still cutting out, so I don't know what's going on. I just want to make sure people can hear you. So it goes real quiet and then it's loud. So just make sure that you hold it.
I know exactly what's happening. I will need to go into, I am so sorry.
No big deal. I just want to make sure they can hear you.
Yeah, it's a connection problem and I can fix that. I will just, may I go out of screen share for just a moment?
Absolutely. Just remember what slide you're on.
Okay, just hang with us, folks. This is a very simple fix. We thought we had everything covered before we started this, didn't we?
We do. It just I just want to make sure they can hear you, because you've got so much good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just need to find the right icon. Oh my goodness. Hang on with me.
Yeah, Linda Miles says it sounds like you might have a loose wire. So
Linda Miles knows me real well, doesn't she? Yeah, that is true. Very good, Linda. I just have to get off of my Wi-Fi and onto my hard connect. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to fix this in just a second. Hang with me. Hang with me. Oh my God. Let's cut that off. And we should have the problem solved now.
Linda said you made her laugh, so that's good.
Linda,
hey, you've got an icon watching you, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's, I'm feeling the pressure here, folks. Feeling the pressure. Let me drop down to my last slide, which is a really cool book. And Linda
Miles, hit that icon in the bottom right for me too once you get there. There you go.
Got it. Here I come.
You were there. You got it.
All right, we're there. Thank you all for bearing with me there. I humbly apologize. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Or as my friend Paul Henney says, if it can't go wrong, it will go wrong. But anyway, I am sure that Linda and some of you are familiar with Mindset by Carol Dweck, an amazing psychologist. And, you know, we are locked in this assumption that we are what we are and we're not going to change. And Carol Dweck, in 20 years of study, proved this wrong, because her postulate is application plus experience equals growth. And, you know, there's a genetic issue. Some of us find, you know, God forbid, some of us are born with some genetic limitations. And that's really way outside the bell curve of human population. But most of us, an overwhelming majority of us, can grow. Look at Charles Darwin, Bill Gates. They were flunkies in school. Bill Gates was an absolute flunky. Nobody thought he'd amount to anything. Ha ha, look at him now. And you know what? In my life, I was running a weak C in organic chemistry in college. I almost didn't get into any professional school. I think the sum of my first 2 grades in organic chemistry was 109. That wouldn't have got me very far, but I caught on. You can grow. You can get out of whatever rut you might perceive that you're in. Because the reality is, when a patient leaves your office, it just means one out of how many hundreds or thousands left? How many still love you? When the market crashes, we've lived through 1987, we lived through 2008, and we're living through this nonsense now. It's going to come back. We're not going broke. You're out of shape? You can get in shape. I did it at 58. You can do it. Our friend Uche Odiatu says your muscles have no idea how old your body is. And I've proven that. You have an argument? All you got to do is fix it, and we'll talk about that a little bit. You have a bad outcome? It happens. It's a learning opportunity. That's all it is. And because this is the word, and now that I know Linda's here, Linda is the what, aside from these words here, Linda is the walking, talking, 2-legged, high-energy definition of attitude. Who transmits positivity better than Linda Miles? Because you know what? You choose your attitude. You choose your outcomes. It's not your circumstance. It's how you react to it. A patient tells you they can't floss. You think they can't floss? Sure they can. You think you can't learn something? Look at your career. You think you can't adapt to PPE and all of the draconian restrictions they put on us? Nonsense. And let me tell you something. If those of you who know me, I started out really humble and I struggled for 30 years before I got it. I never thought that I would be in a position like this to talk to you, to teach you something, because I've spent my whole life learning from the Linda Mileses of the world, from the Kay Huffs of the world. And I never, ever thought that I could be here. And I was cynical for a while. Lose it, because you're capable of any daggone thing you want. You just have to find your passion. You just have to find what turns you on, and all of a sudden, yeah, you can do it. And another great author that I love, who's really shaped me, is Brene Brown. Many of you have heard of Brene Brown. And Brene Brown has a postulate that says man has an irreducible need for love and belonging. What does that tell us? It tells us that connectivity to another human being really makes it. And I don't know about you, I hope you all feel the same way. When I connect, when I see Kay Huff at a meeting, when I see Linda Miles, when I see any of you who are my friends at a meeting or anywhere, something happens. Something happens when you see your patients and you really get a legitimate smile and give one. Because you know what? Yeah, we can study and we want to master our dentistry, and we want to go to Pankey, to Spear, to Coyce, wherever it is we want to go to learn. But when it comes down to it, Chuck and I were talking before, it really isn't about, they don't come to you for the excellence of your dentistry. It's pretty darn good, every one of us, but dentistry is about relationships. Relationships with your team. This is me and my team. We go to AOSH every year. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that this year, but we go out as a foursome and we partied a little bit together. We learn together. We get out of the office. We're fortunate, we're blessed to be able to do that, but there are many other things you can do to enhance your relationship with your team. It's about your relationships with your patients. It's about the hugs. Darn it, we can't get hugs anymore, for heaven's sake. We gotta bring that back. We gotta bring it back. Because it's the love of your patients and their love of you that keeps you all together. But it starts with your relationship with yourself. And that's Dana. She was one of my trainers, and man, oh man, did she abuse me for years, but she made me tough. And she's one of the people who really has helped me physically be as my age, but I'm not my age. It's really good when you love yourself and take care of yourself. It's awesome. But you know what? If dentistry is about relationships, how do you have a relationship with Darth Vader, for God's sake? This is what I wear. I never like the feel of the N95 and level 3 over it. So I use an industrial respirator, and I wear my loops. I was really nice enough to have my face shield up at the time of that picture. And we got the gown and we put on the gloves, and there's hardly anything of us that a person can see. And you know what? How many of you have walked into your operatory and the patient tells you you look like Darth Vader? Or you through this thing, I'm talking through a muffler, and the patients will laugh. We'll just laugh about it. And I've got to get up close to them and scream. And it does tire me out. And breathing, it becomes an art form behind these daggone things. It's hard. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you're connected to your patients and they see what you're going through, they're not going to tell you you're ridiculous. They're going to love you for it because they see what you're going through in order to keep them safe. You know, everything we do to keep us safe is really keeping them safe too. So you can connect with them just by their mere understanding of what you're doing and express it to them. Let them know that this is all about them. And how many of you have seen your patient sitting in your chair with their mask on as you're about to sit down and examine them? Am I the only one? Now, I tell them, you know, when I go to the doctor, I got to take my shirt off every now and then. And we laugh about it. And of course, we have to talk to them in our reception area through a mask. And, you know, we can smile with our eyes. We really can. But I think what we do leading up to that will make a very big difference. But we really do want to smile with our eyes. And we'll talk a little bit about how teledentistry does that for us. But how do you connect to a patient when you look like that? How do you provide them comfort? You can't. You can't. It's got to come with a basis, a foundation of trust and empathy. And all of these things are the end point of a process. In my world, when I get to this point here, it's an end point of something that I work very hard on, and that is to build the trust of another human being with empathy, with listening. Because you know what? We got to meet people where they are. How many of you have fearful people coming in? And you really have to find a way to tie into their fear and to empathize with it. And this is where teledentistry comes in. I see there's a question. Kay, would you like me to continue, or is there a question that somebody has asked that I should answer now?
I'll go ahead and look at it, but I still, your mic's kind of going in and out again. So if you don't mind, keep that little mic closer to your mouth. I think that will be a big help.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about your voice. It seems like it's a little irritating. So
okay.
I think let's try that. Make sure it's plugged in really well. I think that will work. But I mean, you're doing a great job. So just keep going.
Am I better here, Kay? Am I better?
Yeah, that sounds better. I think it's when you're leaning forward and your hand's going over your mic. It's just
okay.
So you're good. Let's try that. Thank you for sharing that information with us. We appreciate it.
Sure. And Kay, you're not the first person, by the way, to tell me that my voice is a little irritating. All the time.
I didn't say that.
But if there's a question up there, please cut in if it's time sensitive. Otherwise, I'll save them for the end of the presentation if that's okay with with you all.
Absolutely, guys. Keep putting your questions in, and we will go over them at the end.
All right. So, teledentistry. I think that a lot of us are zoomed out. I hope you're not zoomed out tonight, but a lot of us are really kind of tired of not seeing each other and hugging each other and seeing ourselves in 3D and getting up close and personal. But there is an advantage here, because you know what? There's a whole lot of things we can do with teledentistry. We could actually take the time and look somebody in the eye, just like you're looking at me right now, and greet people with no distraction, other than if you have a crummy mic. But you can greet people without the hustle bustle of the office behind you. You can greet people without the hygienist coming in and asking you to do something. And you could devote some time and take some notes. You pay total attention. There's no reason, by the way, why your team can't do it. You can assess everything about that patient just through some simple video conferencing. And they could flash you a smile. They could text you a picture, or they could flash you right over. Hey, doc, I don't like this thing about my smile. That's powerful. If you have a patient who's having an intraoperative or an interoperative between visits, the temporary crown phase, or maybe between their 6-month recare, and they have a problem, why waste an office visit with it when you could diagnose it? It's simple, it's efficient, it lets you use your operatories more efficiently. You can possibly suggest some aesthetic options without distraction. And you know what? When you do this with a new patient, you've got a relationship established already. So when they walk into that stark, barren reception area or waiting room, whatever you call it, and your front desk person is masked up, perhaps she has already met them through your teledentistry. You've already met them, and there's a level of comfort walking into a barren office without the amenities that we like to have, and you've got a little bit of a relationship with them. There are some applications out there that allow you to, or that encourage you to estimate costs of treatment. If that's within your comfort zone, cool, that's fine. I personally don't really care for that. I think there are too many pitfalls in doing that. There are too many unknowns. And you know what? In the era of COVID, I think this is an essential. I think this is an essential communication tool. After COVID, we know this is going to pass, and some semblance of what we knew as normal is going to come back. But even afterwards, this is an incredible opportunity to not use your chair time, but to use out of chair time in order to get a lot of knowledge about your patients, about them to get a lot of knowledge about you, to exchange some ideas, some philosophies. And it's also, like it or not, there are some people who don't belong in our offices, and this is an awesome opportunity to encourage them to seek care elsewhere. Yeah, I've done that. It's happened a couple of times already. I'll give you one example at the end of our talk, but it's a great opportunity to, as we used to say in the 80s, to qualify a patient for us. So the possibilities here are amazing. They're really amazing. So I'll give you some tips about this. First of all, how much time? I like about 30 to 60 minutes for a brand new person where we really want to talk and get to know each other. That's me. That's the style of practice that I do. You may want more, you may want less. But certainly 15 to 30 minutes to just screen a person or to just diagnose somebody, an existing patient. Doc, you did that crown for me last week and it's heat sensitive. It kept me up all night. I don't think we need to take an x-ray or do a diagnostic thing. You know darn well that you very likely have an endodontic flare-up, and you can either set them up for an endo appointment or refer to your friendly endodontist, which is whichever you choose. When do you do it? I usually like to do it at lunch hour. Monday is the only day I take lunch, so we will schedule these people on Mondays. Sometimes we block our schedule for non-productive things, non-big generating items. So I will use my teledentistry for them. And sometimes I do this, you don't have to, it's a matter of your style, but sometimes I'll do it after hours. Have your front desk person call and give your teledentistry patient a heads up within 30 minutes, because not everybody is a master of technology, as you saw with me at the beginning of this thing. So give them a little bit of time to log in and to get yourself situated and set up. And it works out very, very nicely. What do you charge? I don't charge. I don't charge. There are some people who do. Certainly in medical practices, they do it because they're consultations, they're coded value-added consultations. Frankly, I think it's just a value-added thing that nobody else is doing. And I think the person will come in with a much greater appreciation. And it's also, like I said, it's my opportunity to qualify somebody. It's really to my advantage. No shows. I have a whole philosophy on no shows, which is a subject of a whole nother talk, but that's a judgment call for you folks. If you think you'll accomplish something with a no-show fee, go ahead. If you think that not rescheduling somebody for this is in your best interest, go ahead. I like to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, at least the first time, and go from there. A couple of do's. When you're doing teledentistry, talk about anything. You could talk about their families, their kids, their jobs, their move to the area, what they're concerns about. You might want to build a connection with a common interest. If they've got a problem, listen carefully, and we're going to talk about this again. Ask lots of questions and let them elaborate. And get yourself very clear of what their real issues are. Now, there are insurance. Yes, Kate.
If you want to call in on your phone, I mean, I don't want to interrupt you, but if you want to call in on your phone, we'll mute your mic here and you'll be able to get a really good sound on your phone. She put the phone number in the chat for you, so that way it'll make it smooth, because I think people, they really are enjoying all of this information, but that cutting in and out's kind of
Man, I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. No big deal. I mean, it happens. That's what happens on live, right? It's this.
All right, hold on to me for just a second and tell me if this is any better.
Well, it's not. It's really good at times, and it goes off and on.
Okay.
So you fade in and out. So she's actually put the number in chat for you. So if you dial in, she's going to go ahead and mute your mic for you on the computer, and that way we'll get a really good sound out of it.
Okay. Okay, where is chat? Where is it?
On the very bottom.
Okay. Got it.
So guys, we're just going to mute his mic. So Alyssa, if you want to mute the mic, and then we'll pick him up on the phone, and that way I think it'll be a better, it's going to be more clear for everybody to understand. We may go over just a few minutes this afternoon, but I definitely want to make sure we get all of his material out. There we go. He's dialing in.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Oh my goodness. I think that's going to be so much better. We're good to go. Thank you so much for doing that.
And thank you all of you listening. I'm glad you stayed with me. I'm very thankful you stayed with me. And here we go. So what do we do during teledentistry? Talk about anything. Now, there are ADA codes for screening or assessing. There are some experts out there. I am not one of them. But you can get codes for this. You can take notes. One mistake I made early on was I took notes and I lost the pieces of paper, and that hurt me a little bit in the beginning. But take notes. And some of these applications do have areas on the screen where you're looking at people where you can take notes. Some don'ts. There we go. I would definitely do not quote fees for something you can't see. You just never know. And you know what happens when you quote a fee and it's not accurate. Don't promise anything. Don't promise anything until you've examined it thoroughly in 3D, especially if you've got malposed teeth and you don't know the person's periodontal condition. That could get you into a heap of trouble. And diagnosing is absolutely verboten. Don't give a diagnosis without a good examination. And I don't think I have to tell you about drugs. I think that's a wormhole we've all fallen into during our careers, and the price to pay for that, both for a patient and for us, is very severe. So don't follow your state guidelines. How do we meet people where they are? Edgar Schein wrote a great book called Humble Inquiry. And write that down, please. Humble Inquiry by Edgar Schein. And it talks about really understand that we need them every bit as much as they need us. The patients, the team, the custodian, the postal guy, the UPS guy, we need every one of them. And when we do that with our patients, we all of a sudden become partners. And when we become partners, we become collaborators. It becomes so much better. Because you know what? It really isn't about our dentistry. It's about that person. Dr. Pankey taught us, know your patient, know your work, know yourself, and apply your knowledge. Know that patient. And all of a sudden, case presentation becomes magical. In the 80s and 90s, we talked about getting them to say yes. When we know them, when we're connected through teledentistry and through real dentistry, that's when the magic happens. What are your most important dental instruments? We have all kinds of gizmos today, don't we? We have 3D printing. We have CAD/CAM. We have scanners. We have all kinds of great stuff today. We can do digital dentistry, and digital dentistry is a miracle. But you know what my most important gadget is? It's that thing. Because when you use that thing to stay in the question that your patients are engaged in, wowee. Wowee. When they know you're listening and they're heard, holy smoke. Eye contact, facial expression, teledentistry or not, body position, lean into them. That is when the magic happens. And you want to ask open-ended questions with curiosity. We'll talk about that a little bit. Generous listening. Great concept that Brene Brown talks about. And generous listening involves reflecting. GK, I understand that you are here because your gums are bleeding and you're very concerned about that. Yes, Dr. Stern, thank you. That is why I'm here. And the 3 magic words, write these down. Tell me more. Let them talk. Tell me more are magical words. And all of a sudden, you and your patient are no longer doctor up here, patient down here. You're eye to eye, you're partners. 3 types of humility Edgar Schein talks about. Baseline humility. Hey, Chuck Cohn, great to see you, man. Thanks for being here. How are you, Alan? I'm fine, thanks. See you later. Optional humility. Frank Spear. Oh my God. Linda Miles. Linda Miles is in the audience tonight. Linda, it is such, and I mean this, I'm not acting this one out, but optional humility wants me to say, Linda, it is an honor and privilege to have you sitting here with me. I am humbled by your presence here. Here and now humility. Madam Patient, I need you every bit as much as you need me. Don't say that, but think it. Madam Patient, we're here for each other. I'm here to serve you. How can I help? And when you cop that attitude with your patients, with your team, with the mailman, the UPS guy, the water delivery guy, you're connected in a way that is very, very special, because then you can express empathy. And we'll talk about 3 components of empathy tonight. I said we're going to talk about 3 components of empathy tonight. Remember, they're not all technical masters. We want to acknowledge, we want to validate, and we want to find a solution. And Christian Conti's book, Walking Through Anger, is a great book that talks about this in a different context. Acknowledge. I hear you. I'm listening to you loud and clear. And let me give you an example of where I listen to somebody loud and clear. This is Paul. Whoa, what are you thinking? I know some hygienists out there who are going to say, ooh, what a grunge. Oh my God. Paul, how did you get that way? Well, is that what Paul wants to hear? That's exactly what he doesn't want to hear. Hey, Paul, what do you see in this picture? Tell me how I can help you. Well, Alan, I haven't been to a dentist in 35 years. And of course, what we would be inclined to say is, what the heck is the matter with you? What's kept you away, Paul, is what I asked. I'm scared to death, Alan. Paul was a high school classmate of mine and found me at a 40-year reunion and drove 100 miles away. And we embraced his fear. We acknowledged it. And I said, Paul, if you're afraid, then you're afraid, and we got to deal with that. And all of a sudden, his eyes lit up. He said, you're not going to tell me there's nothing to be afraid of? No, Paul, you're scared. I understand. How can we help you? And that led to affirming that not only is he scared, but he wants something. And what he wanted was obvious. And what did he get? All on 4. He wrote us a check for what? All on 4. And this guy now used to smile with his lips pressed. We've seen people like that. Now he smiles bright because I acknowledged and validated his fear and empathized with him and found a solution. I want you to meet Kay. Kay is a brilliant lady. She went from a successful career in telecom to being a realtor. Kay came to me with this body language, and you know what this means, right, folks? And she said to me, my old dentist told me I have to stop smoking. I can't stop smoking. I don't want to lose a teeth. I don't want to lose my teeth. And I know what you're going to tell me, and I'm very scared. And she's literally shaking and rattling off these words like she's had 18 cups of coffee before she came in. Take a look at the x-ray, particularly on the upper right. Number 4 is getting ready to get up and walk out, right? What do you tell her? I took her to the back to my operatory, and I said, I started probing. 8, 12, 10, 9, 10, 7. And after the third 2, I've had enough. I have had enough. I can't do this anymore. Okay. We went back to the operatory. And what did we do? I know what you're going to tell me. I have to lose all my teeth. Did I tell you that, Kay? No, that's what you're going to tell me. I said, what happens if I tell you that you don't have to lose your teeth? And her body language started lightening up. And I talked to her in reality. And I acknowledged everything. And I had her acknowledge her reality, that her teeth were not going to last forever. But we can make things happen for you. We can do our best. If you do what we ask you to do, we can keep these teeth for you. And all of a sudden, her body language, her arms went down to the chair. And she started crying. And we put her in a scaling and root planing program. She did everything that Jess, our world-class hygienist, asked her to do. And those upper teeth lasted for 8 years. This is what she looked like before. Those upper teeth lasted for 8 years until 4 got up and walked out on its own. And bam, 8 years later, she was ready, all on 4. And you see the lower teeth in the post-op picture? Those teeth are still there. Amazing. They're about ready now, and it's been probably about 12 years, 12 or 13 years that we know Kay, every 3 months, because she knows what's best for her. She knows, and she knows that we know it. And we've created a plan of action together. Do I have time for one more, Kay? Kay Huff? Do I have time for one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. And by the way, Kay and I connected so deeply. I let her sell my house for me when I sold. When we went to downsize, there was no question I was going to call this lady who not only was deeply ingratiated to me, but I felt a bond of trust. And I'm going to say a 4-letter word here, ladies and gentlemen, that I use a lot. I'm from New Jersey, so look out. The word is love. There was a bond of love between Kay and me, and I knew darn well that Kay was going to give me her very best. And she sold our house. She got us through a really tough sale, and we got her through her tough times too. We're going to get her through another one because her lower teeth are beginning to just say, "Hey, Kay, I'm ready to leave." So we'll be ready for her. I can't show you a picture of this young man. He asked me not to, but I want to tell you about Joseph. Joseph is a 21-year-old Orthodox Jewish boy whose life centers around God, Torah, and family, all in that order, and everything else is really way down the ladder. That's the way they live. He is a faith-based, deeply faithful young man. And he came in with a toothache. He said to me, I have a toothache. My mouth hurts. I must have a cavity. So we bring him in, and you know what we say all the time, right? This guy doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. I got a cavity, schmavity. We took an x-ray, and there was no decay. Periodontal levels were what you would expect from a 21-year-old boy. But you know what? His mouth had 3 weeks of kosher food all over his tissue in between his teeth. And the initial reaction, of course, is, what the heck is going on here? Why does this kid not know anything? But what I asked him was, tell me about your home care, Joseph. How many times a week do you brush your teeth? He says, I don't. And I used the 3 magic words. Tell me more. And he said, the toothpaste bothers me. Switch brands, Joseph. Oh, really? I can do that? Yeah. And I talked to him in language that he understood about inflammation and pain and the oral systemic connection and how over time this is going to hurt him. And he got it because we were locked into each other. And I said to him, this is really cool. I said, could you make a commitment to brush your teeth once a week? And he said, I think I could do it every day. Wow, you can do that. So I had my assistant go up and get him a spin brush that we give to new patients as a reward. And then he was enthralled. He was thrilled. My assistant did a really nice job explaining to him how to use it. And I said, do me a favor, Joseph. I want you to text me every morning, the morning after you brush. Every single morning for the last 6 weeks, I have gotten a text from Joseph. And I've texted back to him, something like, awesome, great, you're the man. Anything like that. And I called him up in the middle of this on a Sunday. And I asked him, can you take it? How's it going? Great. How you feeling? Great. Feels better, Dr. Stern. And then I asked him, can you take it up to twice a day? He said, sure. And sure enough, I'm getting texts from him every day. Did twice. Now, religious Jewish people can't do it on the Sabbath, on Saturday. So he does it Friday night and Saturday night after the Sabbath's over. We worked within his world, and it's working. And he can't get into hygiene for another week or 2 yet. I can't wait to see him. I will have this kid flossing every day by the end of the year because of the magic words. Empathic, non-judgmental, tell me more. Because everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants a sense of love and connectedness and belonging. You have the opportunity to do that. I don't care if you're doc, you're hygienist, you're assistant, you're an administrator. Every one of us in our office has a unique and amazing opportunity to connect, and that'll get them to say yes, as we used to say, and that'll keep them in our offices. Not all of them, but most of them, an overwhelming most of them will. When you connect on their level with this, and with this, you got it. Because you know what? You could get into an argument with somebody. You could say, hey, Joseph, what in the world is the matter with you? Don't you brush your teeth? Well, doc, I can't brush my teeth. That stupid toothpaste hurts me. I'm not going to do it. Well, where's that going to get you? It's not going to get you anywhere. Whoops, wrong button. What resolution do you want with your patients, with your family? One last story for you. I had a guy named Pete. Pete came in and he wanted me to yank his teeth and make him a plate, and he needs sedation and he won't spend more than X. Well, Pete's the brother-in-law of a really a 20-year patient of mine. So Pete came in, and I took a look, and that case, that was a very complex case. I don't like doing surgery. I don't do it. I want an oral surgeon to do it. And he goes price shopping. He says, Doc, if you could adjust your fee to this and this and this. And it was a mess. It would have been a mess. And I don't do sedation. I will not do sedation. That's not in my wheelhouse. If it's in yours, that's fine, but it's not in mine. So his price point was not conducive with success. And it would have led him to several different offices. And with me holding the bag on a denture that may or may not fit because he had ridge atrophy and he wanted an immediate denture and he was not going to go for implants. He was not going to go for replacement denture. What did I do? I found a friend of mine who runs a large operation and works on a low fee, high volume basis. And he was able to accommodate Pete. And Pete called me up and thanked me. He's going to write a Google review for me because I found him the answer that I wanted. So when you look at resistance, when you see potential resistance and you greet it with connection, with empathy, with compassion, when you realize that it's about them and not about you, all of a sudden, you've got an outward mindset, you've got a practice and a life that serves others, and you have riches that will flow, material and non-material. It is about relationships. And whether you're wearing a mask, an industrial respirator, or a PAPR, whether your patient has a paper bag over their head, you still have opportunities to connect with another human being. And I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, that the COVID crisis, this nightmare, this international nightmare we're living through, carries with it some opportunities not only to redefine our personal priorities, but also to redefine our practices as sources of health and healing and hope. That's me, all dressed up. I don't have to get dressed up. I don't have a dry cleaning bill for tonight. Ain't that great? But that's what I have for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've given you a little something today. And with any questions, please feel free. That email address, you can use that one, or betterricherstronger@gmail.com. Or you could call me. I do love talking on the phone. As you can see, if conciseness were a virtue, I would burn in Hades. But I love talking to people. I love meeting people. And if I could open your eyes to anything, it would make me feel like a very wealthy person. Thank you so much for listening. Kay, Chuck, Maria, Alyssa, I can't thank you enough.
Well, I have to tell you that this question is from Linda Miles, and she said, great job. Great job to both of us. So good teamwork, she said. So now you're going to have to come on when Linda's on in a couple of weeks. But, you know, Alan, you did a really good job. Guys, please, if you have any comments or if you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the Q&A. Dr. Stern would definitely want to make sure he answers those for you. So we only have a few minutes left. But again, I want to say thank you. This slide's going to be going down. So if you want to snap a picture of it, whoops, it just went away. So but I'll tell you what, if, you know, we'll make sure everyone receives your information. And if they want more information from you, we'll definitely make sure that we get that to them. So with that being said,
you've got some of my favorites coming up.
We do. So we want to say, number one, thank you to you. You did an amazing job. I think once we cleared up the mic thing, it was fantastic. Great information. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And guys, really quickly,
Kay.
you're welcome. On the upcoming webinar, on our upcoming webinars, if you would like to know more about them, if you actually will take your phone and go over the QR code, it will take you directly to our website where you can see what's upcoming. So just take your phone and again, go in front of the QR code and it's like magic. It'll take you there.
Very nice.
I'm super excited.
Very nice.
September the 30th, Dr. Gahani from the ADA is going to be on. Now, last time he was on, we sold out. Our seats were gone. We didn't have enough seats for everyone. We upped our seats to 3,000. So please make sure that you get on and save yourself a spot on this webinar. So again, that's going to be on Wednesday, September the 30th. It's going to be an interview about where's our future going and what does he see? I think he's been one of our best leaders. Now we'll have two good leaders on. We'll have Chuck and Dr. Gahani. So you're not going to want to miss that webinar. That's going to be Wednesday. Well, I saw it. You saw it. And then upcoming webinars, again, we're going to have on October the 7th, Linda Miles and Dr. Convesser, and they're going to be talking about the oral cancer cause and how to treat when you diagnose oral cancer, you know, what to do with it. I think a lot of people avoid that. You're not going to want to miss that webinar. It's going to be on October the 7th at 6:45 to 8 p.m. in the afternoon. And then let me just move this over. And then we're going to have, you know, again, Leslie Cannon's going to be on. There's a lot of changes going on with OSHA. It just seems like it's constant. So she's going to be on giving us an update. That's going to be on Wednesday, October the 21st from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Any questions, any concerns, anything that you would like to see? We definitely want to know what you would like to see. Please put them in the Q&A. We want to know, or you will receive a feedback. Give it to us in feedback. But with that being said, oh yeah, and you can send anything to practicecoaching@benco.com. Any questions, anything that you need, please send it over and we'll make sure we take care of it. So again, Dr. Stern, thank you so much. You did an amazing job. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough.
I'm so grateful for, in the least, being able to hang out with you and Chuck. But thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope I hit somebody between the ears and have a little impact on a few people out there. Thank you so much.
You did. We actually got some really good comments on you, so thank you. And we will see you soon.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.